Hey guys, sorry this isn't my normal content you may be expecting, but I felt like I just needed to get this stuff off my chest. There's not going to be any script for this video, just stuff straight off the cuff. In the background I'll have some Squeaky Clean gameplay I took with Zane on January 6, 2021 at the coordinates flashing on screen. Now, I thought I would break this discussion into primarily three parts. First of all is the lack of competition, then the lack of updates, and finally, the lack of replayability. All of these are kind of set out in a way to really break into the core of why I think Squeaky Clean content is struggling right now on YouTube and Twitch, and how we can move forward with it into the future. First of all is the lack of competition. For the longest time, the Squeaky Clean scene was flourishing, I would say. We had runners every single day competing for world records across the globe, from countries such as Canada. And I think that goes to show how much diversity we had, and the far-reaching impacts of this game. But I think one of the main problems was that as we continued to see less and less Squeaky Clean updates, so too did we see like a player drop off. Now, I will get into some of the reasons further that I think there is this big player drop off, but one of the main primary ones is I think when we lost Spencer Mark Anderson in that horrific accident in the police chase, I think the scene is still very much reeling from that. It truly wasn't the same, I would say, especially as one of the top runners in the game. Spencer was always someone who, continued to push me forward as a player and competitor. And I also think they were very close with the devs, so I think the devs were especially hit hard by the announcement. Sorry, I just get a little emotional sometimes talking about it. As you may know, we were good friends. He was often in the Twitch chat, and you'll be able to see him in lots of the YouTube VODs, where his spirit may continue to live on. But after that, after he was put to rest, you didn't see many Squeaky Clean players coming out of the woodworks anymore. Now this, I think, is very intersectional with the other parts, but I think that slowly degraded the game into nobody playing it. I know for myself, I kind of quit taking competing so seriously after, a couple records were posted. I got mine, and then there was no pushback. There was the fire that was within everyone's souls was kind of dissipated, and that really sucks. That really sucks, because I think at the root, Squeaky Clean is a beautiful game with many ways of self-expression that you don't see in modern game titles today. And that's what I think truly makes it unique. Much of the design and assets is very much grassroots, where you don't see these like character models, this art direction, anywhere else in the entire world. Same with the music. All created by Zane Jelani's masterful hand. That, it's just kind of lost now, which is it's very sad to see. But speaking of the game itself, that leads me to the lack of updates. And I know Zane Jelani, he's been wrapped up in legal issues for a long time now over Squeaky Clean, like the rights to I don't even know. I don't even want to get into it. It's not my laundry to air out. That's a story for another time, maybe another video. But I think primarily due to that and further complications with his own health, we haven't seen much improvements on the game. And it really sucks it really truly sucks. For a brief period there, back 7 years ago, we had like updates almost every other week, which would bring new changes and would one thing I really liked about Squeaky Clean, and that's something you don't see too often nowadays, is the fact that you can ask a dev like me and Spencer, God rest his soul. So we noticed the slopes were broken. You can look back at one of my vids and we discussed that. And we also discussed the slope tech, which later evolved from that. That is still in the game, I think. But because of that, Zane actually went out of his way to change the game. He updated the game. And now the game has seen much, much difference. From Squeaky Clean 1 to Squeaky Clean 5, I think there's an entire history akin to the Silk Road of the evolution of this game. That I think each version has its own capacity to be ran and world record hunted. But the problem is that I think people got too comfortable with Squeaky Clean 5, and maybe even Zane Jelani got too comfortable with Squeaky Clean 5, and that led to less innovation, less changes. When the big rework update came out, I was very excited. I boosted up streams. We had more viewership in the community than ever before. But it's just sorry, I'm getting emotional here. It just didn't continue going forward. And I think as someone who did patch notes review for a long time on my stream, a lot of those people who would come by hourly just to see the changes have been kind of lost. And I think that's a big viewership we're missing out on from the freaking updates that we used to have before, From Software got involved and Rare. Sorry, let me take a drink of water here. Lastly, I just I want to talk about the core of the game, and that's in replayability. There's a lot to be desired, I would say. Now, don't get me wrong, Squeaky Clean in of itself is an amazing product. I've played it for thousands of hours. I left my wife, I've mortgaged my house to continue making Squeaky Clean content for you guys. Every month or so, whenever I feel like it. But I think it speaks to a core problem of the game when even I am feeling burnt out at this point. I don't think that's normal to get burnt out. I don't see LeBron being burnt out, so that leads me to attack this beautiful game. And I think one of the key problems is, apart from the base Squeaky Clean, there's not much keeping you from coming back apart from pushing that record. And once someone, maybe Spencer or me, held that record, and you didn't see that continue to get pushed, like I chose to do, and Spencer Mark Anderson, God rest his soul, once we lost that, there's not much. There's no upgrade system, there's no live service, there's no battle pass, which is kind of expected, I would say, out of a small indie game created by a single guy. So I think that's one of the main drawbacks of the game, which is very, very noticeable when you go play something like, Fortnite. It's night and day. I was hoping to get some more skins by now. I was hoping the partnership with Dragon Ball would have gone through by now, and we could have gone as a Goku as a playable character. But it seems that's kind of fallen by the wayside. In part due to Zane's legal troubles, but that's, again, not for this video. But it just sucks. It just sucks to see. Even myself, I struggle to boot it up every now. I used to even grind some content off stream. That's how much I love the game. I could remember fondly my roommate coming in and the lights would all be off. And then he'd go, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, just grinding Squeaky Clean, Yeah. Okay. That's about it. Yeah. I think that encapsulates my feelings with Squeaky Clean now. Thank you to my dearest fans who have stuck with me through this tumultuous time. And I'll see you guys later. keep squeaking on, my squeaky cleaners.